guys, we're those benchwarmers. We're just three guys that love baseball that never really got to play that much. We don't really know what we're doing, but we love baseball, so we're going to talk about the Dodgers and just anything Dodgers related. To my right is Riley Saxon. To his right is Rob Diaz. We have three topics that we're going to talk about. So let's get started. The off-season's almost over. Spring training's almost here. How do you feel about our off-season this year?
I think it was bad. Not as bad as some people think. There were some good things that happened, but I think overall, it was pretty poor.
I think it was an okay season. Our off season, we did not spend money we didn't need to spend. Looking back at past years where the Dodgers felt they had to spend money, such as Andrew Jones, Jason Schmidt, bad times. I feel like not spending money was pretty good. We picked up some good players, and overall, I think it was a good offseason.
Well, I mean, I was pretty happy with the Andrew Jones signing back then.
Actually.
But, I mean, he just retired, so let's take it easy on Andrew Jones.
He just retired?
He just retired.
He was still in the... Oh, my God.
He wasn't playing, he just retired.
Oh, God.
But,
I guess I still have a career then.
Who do you think was the biggest addition this year in the offseason?
I'll have to say it was that the three-way trade where we got Frankie Montas and Trace Thompson. We can use them for future... or down the line at the trade deadline to trade away to get a big name pitcher, which I feel we're going to have to do eventually. But for me, that's why I feel was our biggest asset over the offseason.
I'm going to go different. I think all the veterans that were re-signed for, relatively cheap, team-friendly deals, AJ Ellis, who are some other ones? Chase Utley, Luis Avilan, Howie Kendrick, guys like that who, in the past with Punto and Schumacher, where they're glue guys, they're veterans, they can do anything, play multiple positions in some cases, and they're just really good guys to have in the clubhouse, where we didn't re-sign them, we kind of let them go and let them walk, whereas this year we kind of, I was really worried about some of those guys leaving, but we re-signed them, brought those guys back, and bring some stability to the clubhouse.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask what the biggest player lost, because we could all kind of agree that was Zach Greinke. But for additions, you didn't mention Scott Kazmir. I know he's not going to replace Zach Greinke, but how do you feel about the Scott Kazmir signing, and how do you think our rotation looks behind Kershaw?
I like the Kazmir signing. I think that it seems like it's a low risk, high reward type of thing where we kind of are expecting him to be nothing special. But if he is something special, it's a great signing, and if he's nothing special, then we got what we kind of expected.
Same thing. I feel like he can be an addition. He won't be a good number, or he won't be a number 2, but he'll definitely be a solid number 3. He's gonna have a good support around him. Obviously, Kershaw at top. He's gonna have Kenta Maeda, number 2, and then behind him he's gonna have Ryu and then Anderson. So I feel he doesn't have to. His expectations are not too high, so he should be fine.
I like the rotation. He said, except for the Brett Anderson part. He's the lefty Joe Blanton in my book.
We just got Joe.
Yeah, and I know I didn't know that guy was still pitching either. Like it's just. Brett Anderson, and maybe it's probably because Brett Anderson. I think he's kind of mean on Twitter. He's kind of rude to people, and he's kind of angry. It kind of makes me scared to talk to him. And Joe Blanton, he screwed over one of my fantasy teams one year, way back in the day. So it's kind of probably holding those grudges. But I think for the fifth starter, 2, 3, 4, it's fluid. It's gonna you want Ryu because he's a veteran, but he hasn't pitched in a year. There's a lot of question marks and a lot of could be's. So I think that 2, 3, 4 for now that's fine. But number 5. Go with a Zach Lee. Go with, Brandon Beachy, even who we signed to a non-guaranteed contract. Just someone new to where we know we have in Brett Anderson. Let's see what we have with the other guys, going into, the beginning of the season where the wins are, if it's a loss, it's not as, magnified as much. And we kind of see what we have, and then we can move on from there.
Well, we're going to have to start with Brett in the top 5, right? Regardless, because we don't know what Rio's going to bring yet. We don't know what Kenta Maeda is going to bring yet. And I do feel like they're going to put Brett at least at the 4-3 spot to start off the year.
Oh, they will.
3 or 4 spot. I mean, that's a little high for Anderson, I think. But you let Kenta Maeda, the one righty, sneak into the rotation. So I'll let you slide on that, Rob. But besides Greinke, we lost another a non-player. It's Don Mattingly, which I was happy about it. It was addition by subtraction, but. How do you guys feel about not having Mattingly come back?
That was bullshit. I feel the Dodgers had some unreasonable blame put on Don Mattingly, Dodger fans. And it all goes, I think I mentioned it to you guys earlier. it all goes, I think, maybe back to that one year where he replaced Joe Torre for one game, and he went back to the mound against the Giants, and Boshi called him out on it, and they ended up having to take out, I believe, Jonathan Broxton back then, or is it Kenley? And because of that one moment, I feel it carried over to the rest of his career, where every little mistake he made out, he doesn't know baseball, he doesn't know how to manage a game. And it's unfair because was it 2013, he kept that team together. He got them to the playoffs. He called out Ether, which was part of the spark. I mean, of course, Puig helped with that too, but he kept that team glued together. The pitching let him down in the playoffs that year. Kershaw, he melted down that year in 2014, and the bats just could not hit to save their lives last season. So, I mean, I feel like he shouldn't have been fired.
I completely disagree. I think his time had come. I think that for me, he manages too much with the matchups, and I think when you have the best players on the field, theoretically highest payroll, but we had a lot of the best players, or a lot of better players in the team. You just gotta let those guys play. I think that matchups are important, in certain situations, and I think that it is the right way to play the matchups. But when you have the best players, you just let the best players do their thing. Taking Adrian Gonzalez out of that pinch run, everyone uses that example, but that's a huge example. You took our best hitter, one of our best players, out of the game, and then we lost. Like, you can't do that. That's just not something. If we're going to lose with our best players on the field, so be it. We put our best out there, we lost. But if you're taking guys out, you're playing the matchups, and our best team is not out there and we lose, then there's always going to be that what could have been. There's always going to be that. So I think that he'll do great with the Marlins because they don't have best players really, and he can just put Stanton out there, put D. Gordon out there, and then everyone else can be matchups. But I think that when you have the best players or a solid lineup, you just got to let those guys play and not really mess with it.
Dave Roberts was hired to take over for Don Mattingly. He relatively has the same guys behind Kershaw, different rotation, different bullpen. But how do you think he's going to manage this team with so many outfielders? And I mean, the infield is pretty much set, but how do you think the opening day lineup is going to look like?
I think we got Gonzalez at first, Howie back at second, Seager is going to start, Jock in center, JT at third, or Turner. I don't know.
JT's good.
All right.
JT's cool.
Puig obviously in right, and then catcher would be Asmani, and then probably Ellis. Obviously Ellis when Kershaw pitches, and then I'm hoping it's going to be Kike in left field. He's just a spark plug. He did a little bit of that last year, and especially the game where he clinched it, or he was part of the clinching against the Giants. That's how I see the lineup, and then 3, 4, 5. I feel it's going to be Gonzalez, Seager, and Puig in some order. That's how I see it.
I agree completely. I think that Ellis starts when Kershaw pitches. I'd really like to see Ellis handle some of the newer guys on the staff, like Maeda and maybe handling Ryu when he comes back. Just to and even Kazmir, just to kind of get them because I think Ellis calls a good game. I like Grandal's offense, so hopefully he's healthy at the end of the year. Unlike last year, I think he went 3 for 66, and it was terrible. And we need him to be healthy at the end. I think Kike Ethier is that one matchup that you play because it's just a stark difference. But other than that, I'm good with everything. Kike definitely needs to be on the field. Seager needs to be on the field. I think Puig's gonna have a great bounce back year. He's trimmed down. He's taking the offseason seriously. I think he's gonna have a huge year for us, and I think he's really mature now, and I think that or matured enough to where he's not gonna be distracted.
All right, so new manager, iffy rotation, basically the same guys in the lineup. With the iffy rotation, I'm not sure how well the Dodgers are going to do. I have them coming third in the NL West. What do you guys think?
I got them losing in the second round of the playoffs National Championship Series. And it might be against the Giants. It's their, so-called even year. I really hope it doesn't fall that way. I don't think the Diamondbacks will make the playoffs. They're going to be last year's Padres. And the Padres are also going to be last year's Padres. The Rockies, I think the Rockies might make a run. I mean, they got Jose Reyes still, right? And they got
Troy Tulo. Oh, no.
No, Troy Tulo's in the Jays
they
now.
got Cargo. I hope he somehow ends up on the Dodgers. I don't know how, but I want him to be a Dodger.
That's all we need in there.
Besides the fact the Dodgers are losing in the National League Championship Series.
All right, I got them going to the playoffs as well. I have them winning the wild card. I think the Giants, additions are just too great. They already had, a solid team. They had good chemistry, and it's an even year. So I think they'll win the West. I got the Dodgers coming in second. Winning the wild card game behind Kershaw, and then just not having enough pitching in the NLDS and losing in that. Hopefully we can get some more pitching trade deadline, or maybe there's a off-season move lurking still. But yeah, I got them wild card losing NLDS.
So I'm hoping Rob is right. So if they do make it to the NLCS, they lose. Hopefully that's to the Giants. I mean, we have the Kings, so I guess that's our equivalent. But if they lose in the NLCS, do you think they're going to? Is this a good year or a bad year?
I think if they lose in NLCS, it's a good year. It's at least in terms of overall results. NLCS is not a poor year. If you think it's a poor year, that there's wild expectations. I think the real determiner of a poor year or a good year is how Roberts manages the team and how well the young guys develop. How are we set for the future? Do we have a good manager? Are our young guys developing? Is the team gelling? Are those trades we making paying off? If that stuff's not working and we still make the NLCS, I wouldn't call it a good year. I'd call it, kind of a wash year. But it's just all about what's setting for the future.
Just because I want to be fair. I don't know how to put this, but if Roberts loses in the playoffs, people will say it was a good year because Roberts let him there. But if it would have been Mattingly, people would have said Mattingly could have made it to the World Series and it would still be called a bad year. But I feel
lose.
in my eyes, it's a bad year if we don't win the championship. But I'm not placing blame on Roberts for this. I'll put it on the front office.
Because obviously it's Mattingly's fault.
It's always Mattingly's fault.
I'll never win this one.
For me, I hope Rob is right. If not, well, Rob's never right anyway. So that's all we have for you guys tonight. Like us, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at warming_benches, and shoot us an email at thosebenchwarmers@gmail.com. Let us know what you think, what do you guys want us to talk about, and any comments any improvements that we can do. See you guys next time.
That's what you gotta do.